Good to everyone. Good morning. Good to be back. So I was a little bit under the weather. So we're continuing in Siman Reish Nun Zayin, the laws of Hatmana, of insulating. We gave a little bit of an introduction last time. So just getting into it, the Shulchan Aruch opens by saying, En tomnin v'Shabbat afilu b'davar she'ena mosif hevel. On Shabbat itself, one is not allowed to insulate even with an item that does not add heat. So one of those items, let's say, is clothing or a towel or blankets, where it's not something that adds heat, just insulates. So that one cannot do on Shabbat itself. If one, it seems like from here, if one did it before Shabbat, it would be allowed to keep it going. Let's say you insulate your dafina. Recently, I had a guest, an elderly lady at my house, and she was involved in preparing the dafina with my wife, and she covered with a towel from before Shabbat to keep on the top. Right, so that's something that's eno mosif hevel. It was done before Shabbat. It could stay on, but something that's mosif hevel, something that adds heat. And the examples we'll see some of them tomorrow. But let's say salt. That's one of the examples. You could imagine something that could give off heat when insulated with that. It could even give off heat. Again, it's not such a common thing that we do. Back in the day, they would have different types of things to keep the heat going, as of course they didn't have electricity, etc. But ve'en tomni midavar hamosif hevel afilu mibeod yom. Now, something that is mosif hevel does increase heat. You can't even do it from erev Shabbat. Meaning, you can't do it from erev Shabbat. It's going to carry on into Shabbat. Of course, you could do it from erev Shabbat and remove it erev Shabbat before nightfall. That you could do, but to put it erev Shabbat that it continues into Shabbat, that you can't do. And if you do that, it's asur to eat from that. If you did it, if you violated, it's asur in that type of situation. But it's only asur. But continuing along, it's only asur if when you did it, it was cold, and now this heating item heated it up more. But if it was already hot and this thing just kept it in its heat or even increased the heat, but it was already hot, you had insulated but it was already hot, then it would be allowed, because the item that you insulated with didn't increase the heat. It increased the heat, but it didn't increase the heat more than, didn't take it from cold to hot. It just took it from hot to hotter. That would be okay.
The towel doesn't increase the heat.
Right, exactly. That's the towel. Towel's in that category of keeping the heat, not increasing the heat. Yeah, and that's the usual thing that one would want to insulate with. And again, we'll talk more about other types of items like thermoses and stuff like that. We'll get there. But let's say off the bat, things that eno mosif hevel, which means just insulates and not adds heat. One of those things on the list is clothing or towels, etc. And just the interesting point is that Rav Yosef does say that when a person, so one of the reasons why Hatmana is an issue is, just 1 second. Hatmana, because if you're going to be insulating and then you're going to find that it's not really so hot, you might come to stoke the fire. But if the item that you're insulating for, like let's say a dafina, is for the next day, is for Shabbat day, then usually you're going to leave it alone. So there are some opinions that say if you insulate for the next day, it's allowed, and also some say that if you don't insulate it fully, it's not called insulate, it's not a violation, and therefore Rav Yosef would say that on Shabbat, if the item is for something that is for the next day, you could cover it. If let's say it was insulated partially beforehand, you could cover it with more insulation on Shabbat, because the item is for the next day. That's a chidush from Rav Yosef. Okay, so that's that for today. You can just kind of getting into it, and Bezrat Hashem, we will get a little bit more clarity on these halachot. Mincha tonight at 5:55. Zoom shiur, we're back to that, Bezrat Hashem. That's at 3:30, and Haftarah shiur tonight, Bezrat Hashem, at 8:30. Have a good day, everyone. Tana de